The takeover. Over the 2008-2009 period, South Africa experienced something called xenophobic attacks. You may remember this period. We received international condemnation from organizations such as the United Nations. As a business person, I began to look closely at some of the issues that created this brew, as it were. I came across some of the best traders I've ever seen in my corporate career. Pakistanis, Somali nationals, some even as far east as China. It was an amazing story a young lady relayed to me who left the Shenzhen province in China 5 years ago to set up shop in Lesotho. When she arrived, she tells me the story about how she couldn't understand one word of the native language, Sesotho. What she used to do is she would sell shirts made in China to all the corporate workers in the factories around the town in which she lived. It was only 4 years later that she already had 2 factories that she'd set up, one in Lesotho and the other in Bloemfontein, a province in South Africa. The point she illustrated very clearly was that their business strategies and their acumen is very different to what we've seen traditionally in South Africa. You see, the South African businessman and trader suffers from, you may call it, a function of legacy. You'll recall in our generation, if your father owned a spaza shop in the township, he was the man about town. You lived in a big double-story home and your father drove a Mercedes-Benz. Today, however, if you're running a spaza shop, you just don't generate that kind of margin to be able to sustain such a luxury life. What these traders did, in effect, when they came into the country, is they looked at the cost structures that some of our South African traders were using and they cut them in half. So you find people who live exactly where they trade. And yes, the people we researched do pay their taxes. They have an incredible work ethic. A South African trader closes his doors at 4 o'clock. They close theirs at 8, 9 in the evening. In this talk, The Takeover, what it is in effect that I do is I dispel the myths that you and most South Africans have about these traders. You may ask yourself, why would you even want to know? Well, the reason is very simple. Their business strategies are some of the best business strategies I've seen in my entire life. If you are the corporate executive who runs an organization and is involved in a corporate strategy session, this is a presentation you want to hear. If you are a government individual who's looking at changing how it is that you're doing business as it is, this is a presentation you want to hear. It'll connect with your people. It'll give you incredible insight, ingenuity. That's what the takeover is. You must hear it.